And as everybody heard, this meeting is being recorded and will be live streamed. So, with that, I would entertain a motion to open the public meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Give me a second. Did I get a second for Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
I got a second. Roll call, Mr. Tanzi.
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
Mr. Galley.
Yes.
All right. Meeting is open. Let me read the advertisement here. Remotely conducted continuance public hearing for deliberations only will be held by the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. on the petition submitted by N&M RE Holdings LLC, 1250 Long Pond Road, Brewster, Mass, care of Grady Consulting LLC of Kingston, Mass, and attorney Jeffrey DeLezy, Ornberger DeLezy LLP of Situate, Mass, for a special permit pursuant to zoning bylaws, chapter 415-16C.6, manufacturing, assemblage, process, and storage operations that are not offensive by reason of emission of odor, fumes, dust, smoke, noise, and or vibration, or that would have negative impact on the environment or conditions within the town or adjacent towns. 415-79 environmental performance standards, 415-80 general performance standards, and 415-89 special permit and a use variance pursuant to zoning bylaw 415-5 interpretation of boundaries and 415-89.1 zoning variances to grant applicant a variance for access from Union Street through a residential zoning district and to construct a 7,000 square foot warehouse and contracted yard and for storage of materials in an industrial zone. The location of the premises is known as and numbered 1119 and 1059 rear Union Street, Rockland, Mass. 1119 Union Street is located in both the R2 zoning district, section 415-9, and the I2 zoning park and those I2 industrial park zoning district, section 415-16 of the zoning bylaw, and is further identified as lot 60, map 18 on the Rockland Assessors maps. 1059 rear Union Street is located in the I2 industrial park zoning district, section 415-16 of the zoning bylaw, and is further identified as lot 61, map 18 on the Rockland Assessors maps. The owner of both properties is N&M RE Holdings LLC, 1250 Long Pond Road, Brewster, Mass. 02631. Okay. All right, board members, you know why we're here. Let's talk. My guess is that we should probably start with the variance. Seems though that if that doesn't work, then none of it works. So, talking to you guys, who wants to open up?
I will, Rob.
Okay, I think Greg started, but he's on mute, so I don't know if that.
Sorry about that. I forgot that.
So, Greg, did you have something? Did you want to open up?
Mr. Baker Senior can open up. He got in first because I was on mute. So
yeah, technicality, I dig it. Mr. Baker Senior, talk to me, sir.
I think that using the residential to get into this lot is the safest and the easiest way for this project to go through, because of the size of the roads in that residential area and the number of houses and stuff. It would not be feasible to go through that area. This would give it a straighter shot in for any trucks that are bringing material in. Trucks leaving would utilize Union Street to BFW or Union Street all the way through. I know the neighbors are concerned about the truck traffic, but from what I've heard from the applicant is there's not going to be a lot of traffic. There'll be traffic when the project starts to do the construction, but after that, most of his work is way out of town. And they're not gonna be coming in and out of there all day long with trucks bringing excess material or anything else. They're not gonna travel all the way from the Cape to Rockland just to dump a load of fill. They're gonna find a place down at the other towns where they're working to get rid of it.
Mhm.
So it's not like the applicant said that there might be a couple of pickup trucks coming in and out, from the mechanic doing mechanical work on the trucks. If they're gonna, at the end of the season, they bring the trucks in to store them there, or the equipment gets stored there for the winter, they're not in and out every day of the week.
Mhm.
So I don't think it would be that much traffic. And I think it would work better using that entrance than through, by right, you could go through Loretta and Lavina Ave and off of Forest Street and everything. So that's my opinion.
Thank you, sir. Very well said, especially from someone who has basically plowed almost every road in this town. So you kind of have a very experienced view of these roads. So more so than I know that. All right, Gregor, I'll let you go. We'll get you in here now.
Yeah, I echo what Bob had said. I mean, clearly the lesser of two evils is off of Union Street. If we deny the variance, he has the right to go through Lavina and all up through a highly populated area. An old, it looks like maybe a 1950s subdivision where it was a grid layout, very sharp corners, not really intended for heavy truck volume traffic. And I think it would impact more people than the short distance from VFW down Union Street into the site. So, I suppose when it comes to the special permit discussions, if it gets conditioned, we can do some conditions to mitigate some, to keep the entrance quaint and as rural looking as we can. But if we don't grant this variance, he's got a secondary access to that site by right, and I think it would have a greater adverse impact on the community. It's kind of, I feel bad for the residents that live on at either access, but I guess we have to, in my opinion, we should choose the access point that's the safest and the least intrusive. That's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Mr. Tansey. We've got Mr. Galley and Mr. Baker. Any words?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think Greg described it very appropriately and very accurately as the lesser of two evils. Were I a resident of either of those neighborhoods, I wouldn't be happy with this. There's an inconvenience factor to both neighborhoods. I think the potential for dangerous conditions is more prevalent in the back way rather than the Union Street way. So not thrilled with the choice we have, but if it's a choice, I think that the Union Street access is the more appropriate of the two.
Mr. Baker Jr., thank you very much. Mr. Galley, any words?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be going that far out on a limb compared to what anyone else said, but one thing that residents and abutters were concerned about was with the traffic going down Union Street. And I haven't heard that it would be illegal for big trucks to go down that road. And even though we all would imagine that that road will open up into the old airbase sometime, we imagine. Even if it never does, there's nothing that actually restricts that traffic, as far as I understand. You know, if it had a reason to go down that road. So people to say that they wouldn't want it to go down that road, there's nothing legally stopping that in the first place. And I agree with Mr. Baker Sr.'s first comment that, you know, where Union Street entrance would be safer. The only thing I would actually split hairs on is to say that the Forest Ave and other roads would not be safe at all. I feel like those would not be safe, like maybe 1% safe. You know, it would be. So I actually feel like there's no safety in going those back roads for the residents, for the drivers of the for the large equipment. You know, so I think that the back road, we call the back road, the Forest Ave indirect route, would not be the way to go at all. So Union Street is the only safe entrance. And even going by their plans, it looks like they're only going to be doing the light industrial use in the industrial zone area. It looks like they're just trying to have a driveway basically go through the residential zone. So I don't see how it would be unreasonable for them to just simply drive through the residential zone to go to the light industrial zone area to do that operation. That's, like I said, not really far out on a limb of what anybody said, just hair splitting. And like I said, I think it's still safe for them to go down that road, because otherwise that road would have signs restricting vehicles over a certain weight going down that road. And I don't think I have any more to add at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Galley. I appreciate it. And that leaves me, and quite honestly, my board has said everything that I need to, that I would need to say at this point. So, with that, I would entertain a motion at this point. When it comes to the use variance, anybody want to make a motion?
So, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so Mr. Baker Jr., would you like to verbalize that motion?
I think if you could frame the motion, that would probably be the best avenue at this point.
That you would move that the zoning board of appeals grant the use variance in relation to accessing the industrial land via or through the residential portion of the property. If that's the motion.
Fronting Union, yeah, fronting Union Street.
Fronting Union
Fronting,
Street.
yeah, fronting Union Street, yeah, fronted, yeah, the piece of property fronting on Union Street. If that's
With-
your motion,
With Mr. Tanzi's addition, I would adopt that as my motion.
okay, you can use that as the motion. Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
I got several seconds, so I'm gonna give that to Mr. Tanzi. I heard him most vocally. Mr. Tanzi, we're gonna roll call. Mr. Tanzi,
Yes.
myself is a yes. Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Baker Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Baker Senior.
Yes,
Use variance is granted. Access is granted from Union Street to the site. Now we need to talk about the special permit. And the special permit aspect of all this is specifically for storage. Storage of materials, and the only thing that I want to look up is I want to make sure that the storage of the heavy equipment and stuff either does or does not fall under that. Let me just pull that up real quick. We are in I2. Special permit. Sure, we don't want to do an adult video store. It's also a use we can do with the special permit. Manufacturing, assemblage, processing, and storage operations that are not offensive by reason of the amount of eating, drinking, Library, drive-through, supermarket, commercial, to do, commercial board, and then do, okay. So it's basically, it's just the the storage of materials. So who wants to start on this one?
What I'd like to clarify storage of materials. I wouldn't want it to be materials from, construction wastes or, fill material from grading other sites.
Hazardous waste, dirty
Well,
material,
yeah,
concrete.
right. I mean, obviously, all those, I don't think they can because of the natural heritage. But I mean,
Yep.
even just bringing in, tons and tons of fill material from a site, and that gets it to be a very dusty, dirty, high volume condition. You know what I mean? If they're trucking in, let's say they have a construction site where they have to, excavate, a 10-foot cut and bring the site down 10 feet.
Mhm.
You don't want them filling that whole area up with material,
Right.
and like compacting it and then reusing it on other, other sites. You don't want a hauling operation going on of film material, like for example, it becomes a mining, you don't want it to be part of a mining operation
Mhm.
where, let's say you buy a site and you have a big cut and you've got all the sand and you're hauling all the sand in, storing it there, and then selling it and hauling it all out like a, TL Edwards operation where they have these huge stockpiles of sand and gravel and
Right.
stuff like that. I mean, if they want to have stone and certain gradations that they use and pipe materials and stuff like that they would, store on site and then take to a job site that's what they represented. I just don't want it turning into a stockpiling operation where you have hordes of 10-wheel trailers going in and out of there.
Mhm.
You the other thing that I would like to see is the access into through the residential area. I would like to see that access, have the minimum width, maybe 24 feet wide. Um, and just kind of have a straight shot in and have as little disturbance of vegetation so that there's a natural buffer there to screen the operation. Maybe once that access goes, through the residential area, maybe it takes a turn to the right or something, so that when you look down there, you're looking at trees and then have the operation behind some type of a natural tree screen, so that at least when you look there, you're not seeing a stark bare ground level, area.
Mhm.
You know, I'd like it to appear to be as quaint, you know, and as minimally disturbed that residential area that they're accessing through. I'd like that to be kept as, you know, as natural and as in its pristine state as is practicable. Now, I don't know what they're gonna do with that existing structure that's out there. It looked like it was a house or, I don't know, storage shed.
It's gonna have to be removed. So
Yeah, have to remove it. Yeah.
whatever happens, happens. It is gonna have to be removed though.
Yeah, it was kind of in some tough shape, but I'd like it to, you know, be, you know, that access area be as the least intrusive as it possibly can.
Mhm.
The other thing is, you know, they talked about phasing that area way out back and you know, going to cutting through the wetland to the upland area way out back. You know, maybe that should be phased just because I just don't see, you know, based on what they represented to us, why they would need that right off the bat, at least.
Need
I mean,
one.
I wouldn't say shut the door on it, but
Yeah, I'm
maybe,
trying, you lost me. You lost me, Greg.
well, you know, the area way out, way out back, they have to cross a wetland to get to an upland area out back.
Yeah,
Was,
they want to clear trees and stuff.
yeah. I never really understood why they need to have that area based on what they represented their operation was going to be. You know, they're only going to have a few trucks there. They're going to load them up. They're going to have a maintenance shed, an office, you know, an office area, you know, a storage area to do, you know, service the vehicles.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if any of the other boards have any thoughts on that back upland area that they're gonna have to cross a wetland to get.
Mr. Baker Jr., I see you're raising your hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On that specific issue that Mr. Tansey just addressed,
Mhm.
my recollection of the hearing was that the applicant, at least through council's representations, have no plans to do anything that. I think they described it as the northeast upland. But as long as they were applying the rationale, I think, and I'm paraphrasing, and I apologize if it's an inaccurate paraphrase. As long as they're applying, they might as well do it now for that area as well, just in case. I would agree with Mr. Tansey's reservations about allowing anything. Anything may be too broad a word based on what they're allowed to do under existing zoning, but without having to come back before this board for permission to do anything of substance in that area.
Oh, that only makes sense. That kind of only makes sense, but Attorney DeLisi, you can't speak here, I apologize. That kind of makes sense, but the thing is that number one, there's nothing in the zoning bylaw that precludes them from clearing their property. Regardless of the situation, there's nothing in there, and it has nothing to do with the special permit that's in front of us right now. So we can't write anything in that says that they can't clear their property.
No, I should have made it clear, forgive the redundancy, that I wasn't referring to the clearing, but I was referring to what ultimate use might be made of that.
Well, right now, all they're going to us for with the special permit is the storage. Everything else is by right. So the thing is that if they were to I don't know what the future holds. I don't know. They don't, apparently they don't even know. But the point is that if anything were to go on past what they've got right now, if it's a by right situation, we see nothing. It goes to site plan review and site plan review only. It's not a modification or an expansion or anything on the current special permit. If they wanted to do something that was allowable by special permit, I don't know if it's a modification to the current special permit, I don't know if it would be a modification to the current special permit, or it would have to be its own individual special permit, but either way, if there was a second thing that were to go on that property, if it was by right, we wouldn't see it. If it was allowable by special permit, that's the only way that we would see it. So there's nothing that we can really, there's nothing that we can really condition, or we really can't condition it that way because our bylaws are already written that way. So I hear what everybody's saying, but I don't think there's nothing to administer at this point. There's nothing to, there's no conditioning that can really happen at this point.
So if we, just speaking hypothetically, if we
Please,
were to
please.
approve, excuse me, if we were to approve the special permit
Yep.
for storage,
Yep.
would that in and of itself be sufficient for them to use that northeast upland for storage, should they decide to do so at some point?
No, because they did not present that to us right now.
Okay,
They're not, the only thing that they're presenting to us right now in relation to storage is that small area out by the wetlands or whatever that they wanted to put bins and stuff like that. There was the parking of some of the trucks and this, that, the other thing, but that's really the only thing that's in front of us today. They can't.
so similarly, they would also not be able to do processing or manufacturing.
Exactly, because they did not, they said they did not want to. Honestly, I don't want to close the door on that. I don't think closing the door on that would be the right way to go either. I think because they didn't present it that way. So we don't know if they'll actually be able to meet the performance standards for that aspect of it, but I don't think that closing the door on that would be applicable at this point either. But in the grand scheme of things, what they showed us is the only thing that they can do. Anything above and beyond what they showed us for use, if they wanted to store more and in different places, that's an expansion. I think that's what they call it. It's an expansion of, they would, if it was so granted, it would be an expansion of the current special permit, so they would have to come back to us for a modification.
Yeah,
Now,
I think,
No, go ahead, Frank.
my comment was, we'll be more familiar with the business. We'll have a better understanding with it. At first, if they come back to us to, to access that northeast area, both the applicant and this board will have a better understanding of the operation and the needs and what the impacts will be. I just have a hard time grasping what exactly the impacts on the residents will be with that northeast area being built out, being used. I based on what they represented for the first portion of the site that you access and what they've described, I can understand that area there is more than adequate to meet their needs. But if they're going to expand or for whatever reason need that northeast area, I'd like to have a really solid understanding as to why. And if it makes sense to allow them to do it at that time, fine. But I think this is probably, given the sensitive nature that, that's in that area. I think for now, we should just give them the use of that first area that they enter into,
Mhm.
and allow them to come back to build out the northeast area when we have a better understanding and when they have a better understanding of what it's going to be used for.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm not closing the door on it permanently. I'm just
Mhm.
putting it on a pause, and, we'll take it step by step. I don't even know what natural heritage is going to do with this site. So I think let's see if they don't take that site and they need that area. Okay, come on back for an expansion of the special permit.
Mhm. No, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. All right,
Well,
that's two.
May-
I got Mr. Baker, Mr. Baker Senior. You got some words?
Could we put a condition that they could not process raw material? Meaning any screening of having a screening plant there or a portable crusher, stone crusher or anything like that?
Uh,
Because that would generate a lot of dust and noise.
Probably a lot of noise too.
oh
Yes.
yeah, no, that's agreed, but they're not saying that they want to. They're not asking. And the thing is that
But if
if
we
they
don't
were-
restrict them, they could just, once we,
no, if we don't,
If we restrict
no.
What does that activity count as when it comes to zoning? What do you call that?
Let me get there. Right now, that would be considered manufacturing.
Okay,
And they're not coming to us for manufacturing, they're coming to us for storage.
yep,
Well,
So
on that
they-
matter, Mr. Chairman, early in the
Yep.
hearing, I believe counsel, and I'm not sure whether it was the applicant's representative or the applicant themselves, said there would be no processing of any kind.
Exactly.
Later on, they said, well, there'll be some, but they weren't terribly specific by my recollection of what that was going to be. And
Sorry.
yeah, and I would, and I don't know if this is consistent with Mr. Baker's comment or goes beyond it. I would say the condition should refer to no processing of materials of any kind. Or no processing of any kind, I guess would be a better way to phrase it.
No, I did, I get it, I hear it. This is where I don't think closing the door on it is. I don't think closing the door on it is the way to go. I think that if we write if we were to approve this, if we were to write it in as a condition, it would have to be, I would hope that it would be something along the lines of, currently no manufacturing or processing, shall be allowed. But in the future, if manufacturing and processing would be a request, that they would have to come back to the zoning board for modification.
Well, without that language, could they come back for a modification in any event?
Yeah.
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 They would
so-
have, they would have to, if we put it in as language, at least we're going on record as saying that we, the current board, have reviewed it, we've looked at it. And we're saying that if that's what they want to do, come back to us, talk to us, see if you actually can fulfill the performance standards for manufacturing and processing. If you can, well, maybe we'll grant it. But currently, if we were to grant special permit, that right off the bat, no manufacturing and processing. I get it, but I just don't wanna, I don't wanna close the door on, because either
But I guess
way,
my question was, Mr. Chairman, with that language, no manufacturing or processing, period.
yep,
Does that preclude them from ever coming back to us and ask to do processing and manufacturing?
not really. We've been through
Okay.
this, we've been through this before, and I can't remember who else it was, but we said, no, you can't do something. No, you're not gonna be allowed to do something. They came back and asked us to modify it, and we ended up modifying it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because it was a different, I don't remember what it was. It was a different board. And times have changed and this, that, the other. So, Steve, I see you raising your hand, Steve.
Thank you. Yeah, on that note, I don't know how much we have to say cannot, but they are requesting a special permit for contracted yard slash warehouse and storage of materials. So could we say this, say if approved, could we say this decision does not approve manufacturing, assemblage, and processing? And that would cover us. So that way, like you said, it
Yeah.
doesn't say you can't ever. It just says we're not approving it, which means if they want to request it in the future, that would be our way of saying it's not approved now.
Mhm.
It'll have to be a new application in the future.
Mhm.
Without saying all of that, could we just say this decision does not approve manufacturing, assemblage, and processing on the
There's a
lot?
way to make this work. I think the whole
Yeah.
point, I think what everybody's trying to say is that we all want to go on, we want the board to go on record as saying that
Yeah.
no manufacturing or processing will be allowed at this time.
Yeah, and they're not requesting it anyway. So I mean,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. I think that one of the conditions, if we were to approve this, one of the conditions could be that no manufacturing or processing is allowed at this time. But if the applicant does feel that manufacturing and processing would work on the site, that they should come back, the applicant will need to come back to us for a modification
Okay.
of the special permit. As long, I think everybody, if I'm getting this right, everybody wants us to go on record so everybody knows that we understand the situation. So if that's the case, then I think that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Steve, Bob, Grega, Mr. Baker Senior, what do you got?
I'll make a comment. The concern about them building, kind of, I think it was kind of like building a land bridge to the northeast corner. I think that was the intention. I don't recall.
I don't know if
What's
it's a
that?
land bridge or what kind of bridge it's gonna be. I haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I thought. My impression, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the full deals. I thought it was kind of like they were gonna fill in like the wetland area to make a small path, like a relatively short path, like a small path to get the two sections.
Mhm.
I thought there was discussion that they would have to somehow offset or get approval for that. So I thought there was protections for them, for protections against any kind of abuse or risk to the like the waters or whatever, like the
Oh yeah,
wetlands.
that's between, I know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
That's between conservation, DEP and natural heritage at this point. So that's gonna end up, and quite honestly, I think what they were talking about was a couple of concrete culverts that go across and then fill it
Yeah.
in over that. I think it's gonna have to be, I think it's gonna have to be bigger than that. It almost feels like it's gonna have to be a bridge.
But would you think that's a moot point for this board as far as?
Absolutely, because
Okay.
it has nothing to do with the special
Right.
permit.
Okay,
this
I mean, good. Okay, I just want to make sure because if it's something that we don't make a decision over, then I just want to make sure, we don't spin our wheels trying to work out the wording on it.
Yeah, there's nothing about that that's in front of us on this special permit, so there's nothing
Okay.
really to talk about. Mr. Baker Senior, I think you were gonna say something, I don't know.
Not to beat a dead horse, but on the property out back, if we were to approve this, and put the condition in that no manufacturing or processing is allowed without further review of the zoning board for a modification to the special permit.
Say that again?
No manufacturing or processing allowed on the property at this time unless and until the applicant comes back to the zoning board for a modification to the special permit.
I just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only way that manufacturing and processing would be allowed at this point. It's a special permit situation. They're not asking for it now. The only way to do it, whether we say it or not, the only way to do it legally, I guess, the only way to do it would be to come back to the board and ask for permission to do it. So again, if we put the language specifically in there, that's just literally, it's a nod to the zoning board that we're saying that we are paying attention to this. We do see this 100%. And we are looking forward, we are looking out for the future activities or whatever. So I think that, yeah, if we say something like that, we put that in for condition, I think that works. So what else? Yeah. I think that's
The other thing, Rob, is they're gonna be pulling out a lot of stumps and peat and stuff. I think we should put because I don't really want to see him take all that stuff and put it in that back lot and then leave it there and process it down the road. I think that stuff should be a timetable to have that stuff removed, because once you pull that stuff up, it will get ripe. You will have, you'll smell it.
No, I did. I appreciate that.
I got a question about that.
No, hold on. I'm
Yeah.
thinking here. That's going into the construction end of it. And quite honestly, that's a planning board item, not a zoning board item. Again, that still falls under manufacturing. That still falls under the manufacturing and processing, and they wouldn't be able to do it based on what we're doing. But what specifically you're talking about is construction, and in the course of working on their piece of property. That's more of a planning board. That's a planning board situation, not a zoning board. By putting in the language of no manufacturing and processing, that covers us. That technically covers it. So I think it's if that does start going on, then that's a different story, and that's an action for the building inspector or the zoning enforcement officer to go out there. But that's more of a planning board aspect that we don't take care of. So I hear where you're going with it, and Steve, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I got you.
Did you have something to say on that topic, or?
Actually, you pretty much answered it. I was gonna ask you if this is happening during construction,
No.
would that change anything? And you answered that question. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's basically it. Because I know that's the only other concern that people were having was the traffic and stuff during during construction situation. Again, that's not something that we're going to be able to regulate. That's something that the planning board's going to regulate when it comes down to site plan review. So we're just saying if with the granting of the use variance, we're saying that they can access it. And with the special permit, we're giving them the ability to store the materials and deal with the trucks and stuff like that. So that's where I stand. if there's any more discussion, I mean, please, I have no problem. I don't know what time it is, but I have no life. I mean, I'll sit here all night if we want. But you know, what it really comes down to is, you know, if we feel the applicant is, if he can make the special permit happen. I think, I don't know. I'll entertain a motion at this point.
Just a point of order, Mr. Chairman. Are we
Absolutely,
vote-
sir.
Are we voting on the application first, then applying the conditions to it, or the other way around?
I think that typically what we've done in the past is a vote to approve the special permit with conditions. And if everybody's okay with that, then we can bang out some conditions.
Okay.
If we want, we've done it the other way too. We've come up with conditions and then we've had people not vote for it. So my gut feeling is if we're ready to take a vote, I think we're good. I think we can be good with either voting for or against the special permit. And if we so vote for the special permit, or if it's a majority vote for the special permit, then we can come up with the conditions typically the motion is to grant the special permit with conditions. So if that's the case, then I would entertain a motion at this point.
I'd make a motion to approve with conditions.
I got a motion. Do I get a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
I got a second. So the motion is to approve the special permit with conditions. We're gonna roll call that. Mr. Tanzi?
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Galley?
Yes.
You're freezing up, Rob.
I was afraid that was me.
That was me. Okay.
That was,
All right. Mr. Galley, so I had a good on Mr. Tanzi, then it was me. Then I said yes. Mr. Galley?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Baker Senior?
yes,
Mr. Baker Senior, Mr. Baker Junior?
No.
That's a no. So it's a 4-1. It still passes. Okay, so we should talk, we should talk conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Tanzi, I think as a part of the special permit and to condition the entranceway and your idea on making it look kind of residential, maybe street trees.
Yeah, it has to meet site distance criteria for obvious reasons, but any type of a live screen that would it just enhance the rural area of it is my I want to screen out as much of that operation as can be done. They really can't do anything in the residential area except for access it. And, if they need, obviously, utilities as well. But then once they get in there, I would like to see some type of a channeling of the traffic around so that when you're looking down that access point, you're going to see some type of vegetative screen, and then behind that or off to the side or whatever, they would have their operation, and they'd have their they have the maintenance shed with the office space in it, that type of thing.
What about a fence? Because they were going to put a privacy fence all the way through. I'm
Well,
assuming.
yeah, that's when we approve the plan, we should probably put that as a condition as well. But we're approving that plan, and that fence was on the plan. But I think it's it's wise to just add that as a condition. Another important condition is, they can't be, engine braking on Union Street.
Mhm.
Or on the site, because that's a very noisy way to, I mean, it's just unnecessary to stop a vehicle by by engine braking. Yeah, so, hours of operation.
Mhm.
Um, I think we should restrict it, nothing on Sundays, Saturdays we have to talk about those hours so that they won't be intrusive on the residents.
Mhm.
I believe they had a list of
Yeah, we talked about that before.
holidays in the, hours.
Yeah,
I think it was
Oh.
7 to 6 Monday through Friday and 7 to 2:30 or 3:30 on Saturday.
right.
My notes had 7 to 6 or dusk. Whatever's earlier Monday to Friday, and 7 to 2 p.m. on Saturday. Those are my notes.
Mhm.
There we go.
Okay, but we need to have those in the conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to talk about it at a meeting. It's another
Yeah.
thing to approve it and have it in the conditions.
Yep.
They also said that they would notify the zoning enforcement officer if they had to do emergency work after hours.
Okay.
They would
Just to
notify them 24
clarify,
hours in advance.
Can I piggyback a question for Greg's point about the Jake breaks?
Please.
We were talking about signage. Would it be excessive to have them put beyond signage on Union Street? Would it be excessive to have signage on VFW towards the top of it, because that's adjacent to the residential area? I don't know where
I
you'd
don't think we
operate
can do
a
that.
Jake break. I don't know where you have to actually put it on.
I don't think we can do that.
No, it's too far
No.
away.
If it was on site or
Yeah.
on the street, directly adjacent to the property,
Yeah.
I could see that. But
Yeah.
by the time it's all said and done, you're not even going to operate a Jake break until you get within 500 feet, maybe 700
Okay.
feet of VFW, which is
Okay,
a
good.
long ways away.
Okay, good. So it will be a non-issue. Okay.
Oh yeah, these trucks are barely going to get up to the speed limit before they got to start putting their brakes. So it's the Jake brakes. I can appreciate that. We can say that no use on site. I don't think we can say that on the street, but I think the people that can say that, most of them know what's going on here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk to. We're definitely gonna have to talk to highway superintendent. Get his.
I believe he gave us a list of stuff that he wanted.
I don't think that was in there. For fear of lagging out over here, I can't bring up my. I don't want to bring up my website. Bring up the town's website. But Deb, do you still have that? Do you have those? Do you have the stuff from Dave Taylor and the highway department and stuff?
It's on the website.
And I'm not gonna lag. If I pull up my website right now, I'm gonna lag out. For some reason, I've got very low Comcast.
It'll take me a minute.
All right, so we'll just while she's doing
Found
that.
the email from Dave Taylor.
Does he have his? Does he have it there?
Yeah, February 28th to Deb from Dave Taylor.
Was there
a concept 1 highway? I don't. You want me to quickly read it?
Just more so if it came, it's signage on Union
Okay.
Street. Was he specifically asking for that?
Gates, designated signage, the, I think this has to do with the, Lavina, the extension of the 10 feet, crossing the lot, make way to the road stability. Gate would need to be accessible to
Yeah, see,
highway
that's-
police, designated signage, meet MUTCD compliance on emergency vehicles only. Okay, that's about the Lavina entrance, isn't it? The entrance on Union Street should be 6 VA 6-inch granite radius installed at sidewalks extended to lot lines.
See, unfortunately, what a lot of our guys were bringing to us, what highway, what police and
Yeah.
fire all brought to us were things that planning board has to deal with.
Okay. And then there was street
if it-
signage to meet, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
see, that's all planning
Okay.
We could send them,
stuff.
a-
I don't believe that
little
we can
note.
condition.
yeah.
Say again?
We could probably send the planning board a little note that we'd like to see no jake breaking and no commercial vehicles on Forest Street, Lincoln, that, those ones. But I
Yeah,
don't,
I
I
think
don't
that's
think
as far as we
we
can
could-
really go with that.
it'd be up to them for putting out a condition for the signage on there.
Yeah, I mean, see,
Unfortunately.
we can only really condition stuff on site. That's why I like Mr. Tanzi's idea of, trying to make the entrance look a little bit more residential. Dealing with, I would say, as much screening as possible. On-site street trees. I think that some sort of
Now you froze up again.
sort of landscape buffer, some sort of landscape buffer.
Mhm.
So
I think we should put the condition of no manufacturing or processing to be allowed
again,
without coming back to the zoning board for a modification of the special permit.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman? Can I
Mr.
make
Baker
just a
Jr.?
suggestion on that language?
Yep.
Without a modification being approved by the zoning. board,
Okay, yeah,
Rather than
very
just
good
having
point.
them show up, which technically could
Right.
mean even if we deny it, they can still do it.
Deb, do you have that, or do you want Mr. Baker Jr. to kind of repeat?
I'm
that?
good, I got it.
Okay. What else we got?
They meet all other boards and commissions in the town of Rockland and the state and federal.
Yep.
We were talking before about no outside firms and no outside material on the property. Was that,
Yeah, there was no how do we say that? Trying to remember how to specifically say that.
No stockpiling of outside construction material.
No stockpiling of materials. Materials or items belonging to
third party?
a third party or second party. Actually, it would be a second
First
right?
party,
Yeah.
even them.
Well, their own.
Yeah, they can stockpile their own.
Well,
They can-
only new stuff that they're getting delivered, not anything that they can haul back from a site.
Okay, so what we're dealing with is now we're looking at the quality of the stockpile material that they're gonna store in there. So no Deb.
As far as that goes, I have construction waste, hazardous materials like dirty dirt, fill materials from construction sites and mining operations.
Mhm.
And outside vendors,
And what?
outside vendors.
Materials belonging to outside. Well, see, you can't do that. That means they can't take deliveries. They should be able to take a delivery of stone that they're gonna take to a
Right.
site. but I
Can I
don't
make a
want that, I
suggestion,
don't
Mr.
want
Chairman?
them. Yes, please.
Yeah, rather than saying what's not allowed, why don't we try to be specific as to what is allowed? And then by
Okay.
inference, anything. So, no storage on the property of any material other than, and I don't know what the trade term is, new or fresh material delivered to the property by the applicant's vendors.
That works.
Mhm.
That
So it's
works.
got to be
It's
new. It lets them get their own deliveries of loom, sand, whatever it might be, but
Mhm.
nothing else.
Now, what if they had some leftover material from a job? They can't bring that back?
That's the other thing. That will happen from time to time. But it's gotta be, you gotta make sure that any import has gotta be clean material. No concrete debris, no bituminous concrete debris, no construction debris. It has to be clean, 100% clean fill, no dirty dirt. That's why I like that, pretty much everything that Deb said, with the addition of no concrete debris, no roadway paving debris that's also concrete, but it's bituminous concrete. What else?
They said that salt was not proposed to be stored on the property, so should we also just say salt will not be stored on the property? They said they didn't plan on it.
I think we should make this a no salt area.
Again, I don't know if we can do that.
On the property,
Uh,
we did it we're up in Shingle Mills.
yeah, but that's also something that I think we were everybody up there.
We did it for Home Depot too. That's a no salt area.
Yeah, that's because of the reservoir.
Right. But this isn't almost in wetlands.
Yeah, but that's still more of a conservation issue than a zoning issue.
Could we put something on that says salt cannot be stored without approval by appropriate boards and committees? I mean, if it's
No,
Yeah,
that's-
I kind of like that. Roadway salt shall not be stored on site without approval from the Rockland Conservation Commission. If they say it's okay, if there's a specific place on site that they say that it's okay, I don't see that being a big thing, but quite honestly, I don't think that's something that they're gonna get involved in.
No,
If they're
because I
gonna,
think they said they don't do plowing and sanding or any
that's
of
my
that.
point. That's my point.
Yeah.
Deb,
I'm just curious, is that something that natural heritage would regulate?
it's possible. Again,
Possible, yeah.
it's an environmental concern more so than a zoning. That's why I'm like, I
Right.
don't know if that's something that we can really regulate, but if we put it in as a condition that if it's allowable by Conservation Commission, at least we can say we're looking at it. We think that it's important enough that we need the appropriate people to make the decision. So it's when it comes to sanding and salting the pavement out there and storage of roadway salt. So that's again, that's more of a conservation issue. I'd rather them make the determination on that, because what's the other thing? What's the other stuff, Mr. Baker, Senior? What's the wetland friendly and pet friendly stuff? Isn't there a name for it?
Yeah, I forget what it is. The blue stuff.
If if it comes right down to it, conservation will be able to take care of that.
Right. Trying to think here. Planning board will make them put in the crushed stone for the truck cleaning.
Yep.
At
That
the
would be
entrance.
something site plan approval. They would have to put that in there. Yep. And then the other thing that typically happens is the cleaning of the roadway, the entrance and stuff like that, when it comes to trucks and stuff like that. They're not gonna be once everything is in operation, they're not gonna be dragging dirt and stuff out. So there's really no reason, but we've put that in there before. I feel like we've put that in. When
There's
it
new
comes to this.
bylaws from the highway department that they put in that,
Okay.
construction sites like this, when they're doing the actual clearing of the land.
Yep.
That the streets have to be swept at least once a week,
So then that still
or
falls
at,
under,
or at the discretion of this highway.
so that falls in with your,
That
has to
gunnage,
adhere to-
yeah, that gunnage thing that you put in.
So so again, it still falls in has to adhere to any and all rules, regulations for any other boards, commissions, committees, departments.
Right.
State and federal, blah, blah. So it still falls under that, so that's good.
Mhm.
What else we got?
Should we? During the construction phase, should we put something that if there is a problem with truck traffic, that they would have to get a hold of the police chief to see about if they had to have details there or not?
That's something that we can mention to the planning board. What else we got?
I was wondering about, did they mention anything about proposing a business sign?
No, but any and all signs, so we have the typical one, any and all signs shall meet the bylaw. And shall be approved by the building inspector. So I know we have specific language that we use for that.
And lighting?
They did have
Not lighting up a sign, but I'm just, you know, we want it to be dark sky compliant. We don't want,
planning board, it's
Yeah.
planning board. It's
They
site
did
plan
show, they did show a lighting plan.
But that's still site plan
Right.
approval and planning board, not
Right.
us.
yeah, the
Sure.
lighting plan was supposed to be dark sky compliant.
Yeah,
Oh,
we only showed it on the building
yeah,
There's no-
exactly.
posts.
Yeah.
So planning board will look at that. What else we got? Deb, you want to do a run over real quick of what you got for conditions thus far, even if they're just like, in a rough form?
Yeah, so entranceway. Want to keep like across the residential portion of the property, you want it, to be kept like as natural as possible.
Mhm.
As far as, just a question, as far as, fencing and landscape screening, do you want that plan that the plans filed referenced?
The plans that they filed with us referenced in the
Yes.
decision?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
okay. No Jake breaks. Hours will
On-
be,
The only
Excuse
thing
me?
that we can say on, with no Jake breaks, the only thing we can say is no Jake breaks on site. We personally can't say that on the roadway. That's a planning board and highway department.
okay, so no Jake breaks on site?
Yep.
Is that the same as engine braking?
Yep.
Okay,
Steve's raising his hand.
I'm just wondering, it's in their application. It says, in periods of limited rainfall, the owner will use a water truck to spray exposed soils for additional dust control. Exposed soils that remain for more than 30 days will be covered with tarps or seeded to stabilize the area. Now that's on their application. Can we
Yep.
condition that? Or is that already in the application and we're covered?
It's in the application, so we're covered.
Okay, good. All right, good. Because I went on I like that idea. I want to make sure. Thank you.
Yeah, anything that they're proposing,
Yep,
if we're not specifically saying that they can't do it or that we don't
Okay.
want them to do it, they're gonna be
Yeah.
responsible.
okay, good. Thank you.
Catch.
Okay.
Keep going, Deb, sorry.
Okay, I've got hours Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. or dusk, whichever comes earlier. No Sundays, Saturdays, 7 to 2 p.m.
Me, that's soft.
Did you say something to me?
You locked up again.
I know.
Mm,
I don't know if you can hear me either.
You back, Rob? No, he's frozen again?
Yeah.
Mm. Oh,
Did we
you
just
just
lose
bounce
him?
out. Here
You
he
lost
is,
Back.
Totally.
in your mute. And he's stuck. And you're muted. He's stuck.
You muted, Rob.
Okay,
Hey,
He ain't even there.
oh no.
You know it again.
Uh-oh.
Brian,
Tell him to call by phone.
Yep.
so glitchy.
There we go. We need to set up like a fan behind Rob with like little streamers or something so we know he's got action.
My boy, can we hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
what I get for doing it at Sandpaper Factory. All right. All right. So where did I glitch out?
Did you get the hours?
I knew the hours. If it's the same hours that Steve repeated, then I'm good there.
Okay, they have to contact the zoning enforcement officer to do emergency work after hours with 24-hour advance notice.
That's right from them.
So how are they gonna know if it's an emergency 24 hours in advance?
I was just saying that. It's a 24-hour advance notice is not emergency.
That's what they said in there.
If that's what they said, then that's what we gotta put in there. We're certainly not gonna give them, we're certainly not gonna condition that the applicant must receive Tom Rule's personal cell phone number.
No,
So if that's how they want to do it, then that's how we'll do it. If it has to, if it comes to a situation where that doesn't work, then they're gonna have to figure it out after that. Tom's gonna have to lay the smack down and figure out what the solution to it is.
A quick on to piggyback on the thing about not giving his cell phone. Can you add a language that they have to give that notice during normal office hours at the town hall or something?
no, they'd have to notify the police department, and they would have to get a hold of the building inspector.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the
that's
police
really
department.
the only way that it can happen.
Right.
Okay,
But
so the
in
police
the other-
department, yeah, they'd be
in the other
available. Okay,
situation.
good. Okay,
What else we got?
Okay, so the stockpiling of materials, like basically clean fill, we can, and materials delivered by their vendors. Do you want those other things excluded or just, The word
Right.
is allowed to be stored.
How about clean saleable material?
Clean what?
Saleable, sellable.
Yeah, saleable. Only clean saleable material shall be stockpiled on site. Shall be stockpiled and stored on site.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay. Um,
Mr. Baker Jr., hold on.
regarding-
Oh, no, I lost you.
I can't hear
you.
him.
There we go.
Hello?
There you
Yes.
go.
All right. In terms of using the word saleable, if they were to bring back salvaged plate from a job site, that has value and it's sellable. So maybe we don't want to use that word.
What, bring back what?
Some salvage,
Scrap-
what he's saying is
scrap
that some
pipe.
salvage material, some of the some of the salvage material from job sites does have actual value.
But I thought he said
So-
pipe.
Say again,
I thought Mr. Baker Jr. said pipe.
Mr. Baker
Yeah, as
Jr.
an example of saleable material, Steve.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say their application doesn't specify pipe, if I remember. So I thought you were concerned about that specifically. So,
No, just concerned about the use of the word saleable. So
okay.
When it comes right down to it, if they're bringing back, are they bringing back,
So you would
not gonna
only,
bring sorry, they're not gonna bring back brick. They're not gonna bring back concrete because we're not allowing it. So we're not gonna allow them to bring back used brick, used broken up concrete, used broken up roadway pavement,
Asphalt.
asphalt, thank you.
and their application doesn't have that, if I recall.
Exactly, but the thing is that this is something that some of the applicants, some of the abutters were talking
Yeah.
about. So if we look at it from, this is what's allowed,
Mhm.
and what's not allowed. Mr. Baker Jr.,
yes,
I'm trying to not beat a dead horse, but I don't know how else to do this.
that's my specialty, Mr. Chairman. So,
Okay, let's try and
Mr.
figure this
Chairman?
out. Mr. Tansey,
As a suggestion, instead
please.
of saleable, maybe wholesale retail materials, only wholesale retail materials are allowed. That would preclude any type of salvage material from a construction site in Boston from being stockpiled and then sold or reused on subsequent jobs.
Mr. Baker Jr.,
sir,
does that work?
and again, beating a dead horse, I'm much more comfortable with the phrase fresh or new materials supplied by their vendors. And I think under that definition, something that was delivered to them, that they
Yep.
took out to a job site and didn't use and bring it back is still considered fresh or new material.
Okay, so a second sentence, salvaged material. Job site salvaged material shall not be allowed to be stored on site.
Or any job site material.
What is the danger of that? What is the danger of them having leftover material coming back?
Well, if they have to demolish, let's say they have to demolish a concrete walk,
Yeah.
or say they have to demolish a giant parking lot.
Yeah.
You can't store asphalt. You really shouldn't be storing asphalt near the wetlands. All right.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah, but they're not asking to store asphalt. I thought it was
not
just
that they're
crushed
not
stone
asking.
and no, but they're well. I mean, you could say. I just don't see why, if they have leftover crushed stone or loam or the approved items for them to store that comes in new from a vendor, if they've got some,
Yep.
if
Yeah,
they've
but
got leftover material
nobody's
from a job
suggesting-
site, I don't understand why it can't come back to their.
Oh, it does. No. He said no.
It can.
No, Mr. Baker Jr. said that's still considered coming in from the vendor. So that's left over. That's just gonna be dumped back in the pile that it came from.
Okay, because I was afraid he was saying it has to come direct from the vendor. It can't go from the
No, no,
vendor
no,
to,
no.
to the site, from the site to the store, to their lot.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
It's what
All right.
what I think everybody's more worried about is stockpiling materials, like salvaged materials
Right.
site. If they have to
Okay.
rip out a water line, all right, like
Yeah,
let's say
I
a
get
lead
that.
lined water line. You don't want them storing that on site.
No, I get that. Okay.
That's it. That's really what we're trying to say. That I feel like that's what we're trying to say. And I feel like if you don't list it, then it gets lost somewhere. But I think we're getting there. A combination of what Gregor's saying. We'll take the word saleable out. I like the word, but we'll take that out. Use Gregor's language, combine it with Mr. Baker Jr.'s language. I think that covers us with a second or third sentence that says no salvaged materials shall be stored on site. I think that covers us both ways.
Yeah.
It says only materials that they order to come in to go out on job sites, and other materials that comes back from a job site that is left over from what they had, and then no on-site storage of salvage materials. I think that covers us when it comes to the storage.
That sounds good.
Guys,
Did we want
Mr.
to,
Baker Jr., the senior rather. Baker Senior, what are you talking? You got something to say, sir?
the letter from the police chief indicated that there was, if there were to be locked gates at both entrances, Union and Lavina, that they would provide the department with keys in case of emergency needed.
We're not dealing with we're not dealing with secondary emergency access, so that's out. When we're dealing with the
I thought they said that there was gonna be a emergency entrance there. It was gonna
No.
be gated.
no. Let me go back because because the fire chief said that they didn't need it.
But I thought they were gonna put one there because of the,
Let me see if I can do this without lagging out again.
I thought it said there was two, there's gonna be two gates. Because how are they gonna keep that Lavina Road blocked off? They can't put boulders across it. That are there now.
Okay, I see people moving, so I don't think I'm lagging out too much here. Okay, there's gonna be, based on what I'm seeing here, let me just zoom in a little bit here.
Because of the sewer line that goes through there.
That's right. Yep, no, you're right there. What they're doing is I can try and share my screen if people want to do that. I can show you what they're dealing with. You want me to do that? Take
Sure.
that as a yes. You guys see that?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Alright, the cursor's moving around Lavina. They want to put what looks like a fence outside of the sewer easement. Line that with the trees. Fence with a gate, 20-foot emergency access gate.
Right.
That's what it was. The Deputy Chief Heaney said that they don't need a designated emergency roadway. But the emergency access was always proposed. So, yeah, so you got that. Again, I don't see why not. I don't know if we can, I don't know if we can, I don't know if we can condition that. Again, that's something that,
Probably the planning board, yeah.
yeah, see, again, that's a planning
Yeah.
board thing. I think that
Okay.
because through the site plan approval, they're gonna approve that. I think that is something that the planning board is gonna have to approve, and in the end, all of that stuff is gonna have to go to them anyway, so. So that takes that out. What else we got?
we've got the salt storage, cannot store salt, roadway salt without the approval of the Concom.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be an issue, but.
I don't think it's gonna be an issue either, but
But
just.
it doesn't hurt.
No.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have is signage is to be approved by the building inspector.
Okay. And then we were talking about any increase or change. Yeah, any increase in the storage operations or yeah, I'm trying to remember how we're gonna say this. Any increase in the storage operations shall require the applicant to come to the zoning board for a modification of the special permit. I think we were also saying that too, so.
The other question I had is, we never really addressed it, the pipe storage.
Oh, when it comes to drain pipes and water pipes and stuff like that.
Right,
Yep.
I don't know, if we can restrict them to the height.
Oh,
you know,
height of the piles
how
and
mu-
stuff?
Yeah, how many stacks they can,
Yeah, I think we can. That's something that we can, because that's a storage related. That's a storage related. I'm going to default to you, Mr. Baker Senior, and seeing as though that you would know this better than most of us.
well, I kind of remember that they restricted Holdley's when he got his special permit on the height of the storage. I thought it couldn't be any higher than the fence. I think they gave him a 12-foot fence. It couldn't be any higher than that. For the fence.
Size. Let me just see what size.
Do you
fence-
remember anything like that, Greg? Were you on with?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think you're right. It was no higher than the fence. They didn't want it stocked higher than the fence. I think they allowed, I think he put up a 10-foot fence, at least along the side of one of the abutters. I don't know if it's a 10-foot high fence all around. It might be, but he couldn't stock, he had C900 PVC pipes and other
Right.
materials, and he couldn't stock those higher than the fence.
Okay. So where the applicant is proposing to do any and all stockpile, and again, I don't even think they were talking about any kind of stockpiling of drainage, sewer, or water piping. But where they are specifically talking about the storage, it starts at elevation 145-ish. And the highest point ground elevation that one of the, let's see, goes up to about 153. There is no fence in and around the area. Yeah, there is no fence in and around the area that they're talking about stockpiling materials.
I'm
Again,
just saying that any leftover pipe from a job, they're gonna need somewhere to bring it.
Yep.
And they're gonna bring it here.
It's-
And I don't wanna see it stockpiled on the residential side of the lot,
right,
you know, where the neighbors can see it.
right.
I know they're gonna put up arborvitaes and that stuff along that line, but still,
It's still only an 8-foot fence over there. So by the time it's all said and done, hold on, let me do some maths here. Let's say 153 plus 8. So ground elevation is 145. The high elevation of the site over by the residential side is 153 plus the 8 is 161 minus 145. That's worst case scenario, a 16-foot pile. And typically those piles are they're only 4 foot, they're only like 4 or 5 feet high anyway, aren't they, Mr. Baker? Like one pallet, like one stockpile, like one bundled up.
well, a 6-inch pipe is gonna have more than a 12-inch pipe. But there are some saw pipes that are 36 inches, 46 inches round that come on those pallets, and you put 2 of those up, you got 8 feet.
Yeah. Well, again, that's still gonna be something that's a leftover coming back from the site. And if you want to say no, they're proposing an 8-foot tall fence. Just put it in. No more, no stockpiles high, no stockpiling. No, I mean, I don't know if you want to say materials. But I mean, no stockpiling any higher than the top of the fence, which would say 8 foot. I don't know if we can, I don't know if that's going too far. Because basically the bins that they're looking at, at least roughly drawn. Give me a number, give me something I can work with here.
Looks like it's 2 block high. 2 4-foot block, 2x4 block.
No, it makes sense, and I'm trying to just eyeball the size here. If that's 10, it's 10, 20. They look like 25 by 25. They look 25 by 25. And if you're saying 2 block high, even if that's 3 block high, that's 2, 4, 6. It's not going to be more than 8. It wouldn't be more than 8 feet anyway, based on what they're proposing. So I think it's comfortably.
Yeah. No,
We could say any and all stockpile material shall not be piled higher than 8 feet.
Right.
If they want to come back for a modification, they can come back, but they're gonna have to show us
we
that.
could even give them a little bit of leeway and say on the residential side of the property,
Okay,
you know, so they could store it towards the airbase side,
okay,
you know. I'm just trying to keep everything away from that as much as we can away from the residents there.
I hear it. Deb, you got that? Okay. What else we got?
Would we wanna request a copy of their as-built plans?
When it comes
They're gonna have to
to,
submit them, they're gonna have to submit one to the planning board. The
yeah,
as-built
they
plan.
would.
I don't know if we want one for our records too.
Yeah, it would be nice, you know, to receive a copy of to receive a certified copy, certified and approved copy of the site as built once construction is complete.
Yeah.
I don't see that being,
Just so
Oh.
that in the future, if they did come back, we'd have the planning board's approved plan and our,
no, I agree. And then stereotypically, Deb, we've been putting in the recording end of it, the decision has to be recorded.
Yep. pros again.
What else? Anybody?
No,
Anybody? Mr. Tanzi, anything extra?
I don't have anything extra.
Mr. Galley, anything extra? Anything
Nothing.
additional?
Nope.
All
Mr.
set.
Baker, Mr. Baker Senior, anything additional?
Nope, all set.
Okay, Deb, if you've got all those conditions, and we've already made the motion, we've already approved it with conditions. These are the conditions that we're good with. If it's cleaner, we can reconsider and then we can revote with the conditions that we've got. I'll go to Mr. Baker Jr. because he's our resident attorney. Would it be cleaner if we reconsider and then go with the conditions as we've got them?
I don't think so, as long as it's been the past practice of the board to vote on the application first and then apply the conditions. Which
We've done it in the past. I'm just wondering if I'm just as we go on, I've been trying to make things cleaner. So my question, I guess my question again is, would it be cleaner if we reconsider the motion and then make a new motion to approve with conditions, with the conditions that we.
My question is this, Mr. Chairman, only on the timing of a motion or a vote
Yep.
to reconsider.
Yep.
If we were to make that motion tonight, the motion be reconsidered, new motion be voted on tonight. That's what I know.
Can we say again? I just,
terms of the
you cut out. I think I heard what you were saying, but I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure.
In terms of the timing of a reconsideration, I am not
Yep.
sure whether if the board voted to reconsider, they'd be able to vote or essentially re-vote on that same application tonight. I don't see anything wrong with proceeding as you've done. The
Okay.
4-1 vote notwithstanding.
Yeah.
I think that causes fewer problems than might end up doing an improper reconsideration.
All right. So if we
When I
leave
say
it the way that,
improper, but you know what I mean.
no, I do. No, I do. I just want to, I'm just trying to, I want to make it as clean as humanly possible. We've voted on it. We have the conditions. If everybody's happy with it, we'll just leave it at, we'll leave it as is. Everybody happy?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes? Baker Senior, yes?
The original motion was to approve with conditions.
Yep.
And we added the conditions.
Yeah, so it's as long as
Right.
everybody's happy with that. Like I said, it's just as time goes on, I'm trying to make things as clean as humanly possible. As long as that's, as long as that works, as long as everybody's agrees that that works, then we can keep doing it this way, so.
Yes.
Okay, well, if everybody's good, then we have an approval. Attorney DeLisi, I know you've been sitting here patiently, so
You gotta read the 21-day thing.
we already did. Cause that's it, you read that before, did I read it? Just to do it, I'll do it.
I don't recall it.
I don't,
No.
I'm starting to not recall it either.
Might have been when he was muting.
Yeah, when he was frozen.
Very well could be. Okay. Attorney DeLisi, here we go. All right, open our remaining hearing. Attorney DeLisi, the board has deliberated. You will receive a decision in the mail with a date stamp. 21 days from the date stamp on the decision, go to the town clerk's office, request a certificate of no appeal. If no one has appealed, the town clerk will give you a certification and a copy of the original decision. Take those to the registry of deeds and have them recorded. One of the conditions is always to show the building department proof of recording.
Love it. Thank you so
All
much,
set?
guys. I appreciate your
Well-
thoughtful deliberations tonight. Thank you.
No, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I know it was kind of painful to watch us do this, but there's a lot to think about.
I'm the only one up here getting paid, so thanks again.
Thanks for making sure that we all knew that.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing it in.
Goodbye.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
All right, so that
Bye.
takes care of that. Let me find.
Rob, do you need to do a motion to close the public hearing?
No, we already did that.
Okay,
We closed the public hearing at the last one.
okay, no, I know, okay.
The open portion of the public hearing.
Rob,
Yeah,
I didn't like that last remark that someone put up there.
what happened?
From Mark, it was up there real quick and it said something about a lot of kickbacks are coming back, huh?
Really?
Yes, I didn't like that comment.
No,
If
I don't
the
really
gen-
like that comment either.
If the gentleman's still on there, he can come back on and we'll discuss that with him.
He's actually made a few comments.
Yes, he has. I
Do
don't
we
know if
have
it's
to, do we
Mark
have to
Shep-
have a conversation?
No, we don't have to, but we're definitely recognizing it. The fact that he's saying that
That
we're
it's
getting
on.
kickbacks for this.
Yeah.
We volunteer our time. And we look at this stuff with the residents and ourselves, and we do not take any kind of kickbacks, bribery, or anything from anybody.
I've never even spoken to Rob before, so
No, it wasn't you, it was the comment from whoever it was.
Yeah, something from this Mark Shepard. He's sitting there and he's got his microphone on. And he can easily try to defend himself, but I don't think he wants to. So
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is. So let's go back to, let me pull the agenda back up. Unfortunately, I turned it.
all right, guys, I'm out, right?
Thank you, Jeff.
Have a
We'll
good
talk to
evening.
you. We'll talk to you at another point, man.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
Have a good night.
All right, let me go back to the agenda. Today's this one. Yeah. Go to download the agenda. And download and download. Okay. So, oh, it's very simple. Number 3, non-deliberative announcements and scheduling. Deb, what do you got?
So the board can continue to meet virtually until June 30th, 2027. Per the governor.
Per the governor. Nice. What else we got? What's coming up soon?
Next, well, we've got Shingle Mill on the 22nd,
Okay.
and then probably just a meeting on the 15th.
Okay.
There are no
What's,
formal hearings.
When it comes to Shingle Mill, or do we have an absolute from Galvin that he's showing up?
At this point, yes, I'll confirm that prior.
Okay.
So I've requested a hard copy of the plans.
And she did send out a PDF.
She did, yes.
Can you email that out to the board? I mean, obviously, people are gonna want to see hard copies, but
Yeah, I can. The only issue I have is some, depending on the size of the file, sometimes they get kicked back. But I'll have hard copies, for anybody that wants them.
Oh,
all right, Mr. Shepherd, you're gonna have to turn your mic off. You're disturbing the meeting at this point, sir.
Sorry.
Okay, he's still not doing it. And we've been in a situation where, there we
there we
go.
go.
Muted.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Deb, you were concerned about the size of the file?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes they get kicked back, but I'll have hard copies if that's the case.
Okay, as long, typically, I know from mine, if it's under 15 megs, I should have no problem. If it's under 25, I should have no problem. Just give it a go. Give it a go, see what happens.
will.
If it gets there, it gets there. If not, we'll figure something else out.
Okay,
What did you say was going on the 15th?
the 15th will just be a meeting.
So there's nobody, we have nobody scheduled for it just yet?
Correct.
Okay.
And we won't be able to schedule in time for the 15th anyway, so. Next
So-
hearings will be on, May 6th.
Okay. So, again, 15th wise, it's just a meeting. I may not be here. If it's just gonna be a meeting for what, like for minutes purposes and stuff like that?
Yes,
All right, we'll see what happens. I'll either be late or I won't be able to show up. I don't know yet. I'll let you know. I'll let you know that night.
okay. Not a
So
problem,
Jeff, you may be voting on minutes without me.
okay. Well, I'll
Yeah.
get your drafts ahead of time anyway then.
Cool.
Okay,
And if there is nothing to deal with when it comes to minutes, you can cancel the meeting.
oh, okay. Well, would you rather just do that anyway?
Board members, if there's nothing to talk about, if the only thing that we're dealing with is minutes, we can take the second meeting for the month and let it go and push it off until the next one.
Sounds good to me, Mr.
I'm
Chairman.
in favor of that.
I'll be in favor of that too. So if we've got no hearings and we've got no other reason, yeah, let's forget having a meeting on the 15th.
Okay,
Perfect.
that
Okay,
works.
so at this point, we don't have a meeting on the 15th based on this conversation.
There it is.
Correct.
Okay,
So the next hearing will be on the 22nd, which will be Shingle Mill.
22nd, which is Shingle Mills. Great. Okay.
looks like I'm taking my wife out to dinner. All right.
I was
There you
thinking the
go.
same thing, except I just.
Oh, you're taking his
No,
wife
that-
out to dinner too? Hey, let's all take
No,
Stevie
but that's
Galloway's
the first thing that
wife out
popped into my mind was, ooh, we can go out that night.
Yep.
to dinner. Nice. All right, if there's nothing else to speak about.
Oh,
we
so
can,
adjourn.
Second,
motion to adjourn. I will, I will entertain a second on that someplace.
second.
I got a second from again, bake a sandwich. I love those motions. Got a roll call. Mr. Tanzi,
Yes.
myself is a yes. Mr. Baker Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Baker Senior,
Yes.
Mr. Galley,
Yes.
out of here.
Thank
Night.
you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Rob,
Deb. We'll
Good
talk to you
night.
at another point.
Rob,
Hi,
give me a call.
everyone.
Rob,
Hold
can
on.
you give me a call tomorrow morning sometime.
Call you tomorrow morning. I will call you tomorrow morning, sir.